the very first Getting Fish podcast. Today I'm going to be sitting down with my younger brother Jaden. He's also the co-owner of Getting Fish Bait Company with me. We make these baits together ourselves. So to support us, go down that in the description below, click the link, and it'll take you to our page and get some baits from us from there. So yeah, Jaden's here, and let's start the show. So I just want to talk about like how we got started fishing. We both started out.
I'd love to say I remember, but I was so young.
Yeah.
I
have
think
pictures.
That's kind of both of us.
No, I have some glimpses though. I have glimpses of like us in the old boat, the 14-foot John boat we had that
the deep V.
Our uncles had, the deep V,
Yep.
Exactly. And we had those like yellow and purple fishing poles. I don't know what they
and
were.
the life jackets that matched them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we used live shiners a lot, I remember.
That was all we used,
Yeah. And I think before you were born, because he's 3 years younger than me, I just fished mostly from shore. I fished with like shiners and probably my dad's spinning rod and stuff like that, just with live shiners from the dock. And, like that's how I started. But then we continued with the boat when you were born, and we went out a lot with our grandfather as well.
Yes.
And so that's kind of how we got started in it, and it kind of built from there. I don't know what it was like for you, but for me, I like started to get into bait fat. I wanted to get into lure fishing more, and that's how I got into like getting bait casters, and I got really deep into bass fishing, and I'm still really deep into it, but I'm trying to like branch out and do some other types of fishing as well. What about you?
Yeah, no, I just kind of, I don't remember a whole lot of it. I was young enough, you have glimpses of when something happened. I don't know how old I was or how old anyone else was or when it was, but I just remember things happening. Like, I remember our dad catching a snapping turtle using
I remember those. That happened twice.
That happened twice, yes.
Yeah.
I also hooked one at one point.
Oh, yeah.
There's still an argument over whether it was
there was a painted turtle. I think it was a painted
turtle. I'm just telling you
There were three of them sitting on a rock. It's a painted turtle, probably.
I don't think so.
Okay, well.
I don't think so.
Well, that will never be solved, but.
Big white grub.
Yeah,
snapping turtle ate it. Mm-hmm. Don't know why. Or turtle ate it, whatever it was. And I've done a little more branching out as far as types of fishing. You head first dive into bass fishing. I'm not as.
I kind of took you along with that, but then you also like.
I started to go down the path with you and said, well, wait, there's a lot more out there that I want to do.
Right.
So now I've branched out. I do fly fishing a lot, done some cat fishing. I've done my fair share of stuff around the fishing world.
Yeah. What did you do? Well, I guess we both probably did bass fishing the most.
Yeah.
Fishing shore at our local lake. It's a private lake, and our relatives live there, so that's kind of where we grew up fishing.
I don't think I ever fished anywhere else other than there till I was probably 11.
Yeah, same.
Or so.
Like we only fished there growing up, kinda.
Yeah.
And then it was once we started to know people who had boats, we started to go to other places. Mm-hmm. And we were lucky we got to fish the Chesapeake Bay sometimes. We got to fish near Long Island in the bays out there in the Hamptons. We got to fish just other lakes around the Pennsylvania, New Jersey area then.
We fished Ontario for salmon.
Right, that was a trip.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done trout fishing in like various creeks and stuff.
Yeah, we never really
smaller
got
stuff here
much
there.
into it.
No.
I never really I got into fly fishing more recently, but we were never too into trout fishing on conventional tackle.
Yeah, exactly. I remember doing it just a couple times, and it was alright, but I think I preferred bass fishing. I keep coming back to bass fishing, but I actually want to talk. That was actually the next point on my list here. I was like, just talking about our different types of fishing and different experiences with that. Like we do a lot of fishing now with a grandfather's friend who lives on the Chesapeake Bay. We do
that every year.
Yeah, we do that every year. We go on vacation. Yeah, down there, and it's fun. Like we do the blue fishing and the bottom fishing too.
Yeah, I'd love to get into more saltwater fishing, but it's not real easy when you live in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
landlocked in that. But
I mean, we could go to New Jersey too, but.
Well, and that's the thing. It depends how much time you want to put into it.
Yeah, you only have so much time, so
Yeah.
There's other types of fishing that we could put more time into that.
Yeah.
We enjoy.
You'll spend more time fishing rather than driving.
Yeah, exactly. That's a key thing. And that's why, like, I got my boat a couple of years ago, just like a John boat, but it's so helpful to just take to local lakes. I don't spend an hour driving usually. we do like a grandfather's a fishing ski, and when we take that, that's like a little bit of a drive, but it's only an hour, so it's still like not a ton of time. But yeah, to go to some of these other places for saltwater and stuff would be a big drive.
If you go for saltwater, or
yeah,
I mean I do plenty of fly fishing around here, but there is very, very high quality trout streams within a handful of hours of us. It's just a matter of making the commitment to actually go there.
Right. Yeah, it's a time thing. I always wish I had more time for fishing. You just gotta make the time, I guess.
It's the way it is.
Yeah, yeah. So, out of all the different types of fishing we did, and we just mentioned a bunch of them, what do you think is one thing that like seems to be a common factor throughout all of them, other than trying to catch fish?
You're dealing with wild animals, no matter which one you're doing, and you kind of have to figure... They're all different. They're different species of fish, and you just kind of have to... what you put in is what you get out of it. I've come to realize. The more time you put in, the more effort you put in, between doing research at home and actually going out in the field and just trying different stuff until you find some form of success.
Right.
That seems to be a common theme among all fishing.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing too is like a lot of the fish, they have the predatory instinct, I would say.
Yeah, it's any fish.
And a lot of the baits we use, like I'm realizing like a lot of the baits that you could use for one species, there's like it branches out. It's like a whole web.
A bait fish imitation will never not work.
Right.
It'll work for literally just about anything but a carp.
Yeah.
You could do just about anything.
Gotta be the right size, but for sure, that kind of stuff really works well for everything.
It carries over. You're dealing with... They're different, but at the same time, it's like looking at white-tailed deer versus a black-tailed deer or a mule deer. It's a different thing. They live in different areas. It's still a deer.
Yeah, exactly.
Similar but different.
They have some of the same habits and a lot of the same habits and everything.
Similar but different.
I'd say especially with like the bluefish, we do a lot of fishing for bluefish, and that's like one of my top favorite types of fishing, where they're just schooling and chasing bait fish.
That we're lucky enough to have someone who knows what they're doing.
Right.
And not so we don't have to do as much figuring out as we might have to if we were doing something else. But
and the bluefish are similar to the bass. Like the bass will also school like that. I've never really I've never really been around them when they were really busting on bait fish. Like a couple times.
Stripers are similar to that. In that
Yeah. I've never.
And
done
that's
that.
something
that this year.
We should do that.
Yeah,
keep an eye out for a video.
Maybe it'll
happen,
for sure.
Maybe it won't.
We'll
see if we catch anything. But
it's in the works.
It's in the works.
It's in the works.
It's in the works.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking. I think that's one thing we should definitely keep it as a goal almost for getting fish.
That is my goal this year. I wrote it down on my phone. I wrote a striper down. That's my goal.
Catch a striper. You've never caught one, have you?
I've never caught a striper, and I want to catch a 10-incher.
I caught one in the river. It's about 10 inches. It was probably about 9 o'clock at night in the middle of a city, which isn't. I won't say it's not the nicest place around, but
it's not the nicest.
It's not a place you want to be at nighttime.
Yeah.
So that was great.
But we're gonna go to some lakes and stuff that have some stripers in them. That's one of my goals for this year, to try and catch a striper. I just got a glide bait for Christmas, so that I'm gonna be throwing that. And
poppers
at night.
Big
Yeah,
poppers.
I heard we can go. I know there's a night spot on our one lake that.
Yeah.
That we can go to at night, and they'll eat topwater. I should get it. You know what I should get?
Get a big like 7-inch pencil popper.
I want to get a big
That's
whopper
what you
popper.
gotta get. Or that.
They're gonna come
that
unglued for a whopper popper. I'm telling you.
It might. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we just gotta see.
Coming to you soon.
Yeah, coming to you soon. All that's coming soon.
Videos.
This summer. So, yeah, that's cool. What was I gonna say next? I think it was. So what I asked you? I asked you how they were different, right?
Yes.
Or no, I asked you how they were similar, but what are the biggest differences that you see in between like all the different types of fishing that we do? What do you think?
I mean, it's kind of a like patience, finesse kind of a thing. Obviously, catfishing, you're going to spend a lot of time waiting and depends how into it you are, but the common view of catfishing is find your nearest body of water with catfish in it, stick a piece of meat on a hook, throw it out, and wait.
Yeah.
And that's the general consensus. Versus bass fishing, which when you get to that higher level is fast-paced, running up banks with jigs, whatever.
And even then, there is variation because you can fish fast with like a square bill or a spinnerbait or whatever. But then you can also slow down with a drop shot.
Sit over deep cover.
Yeah, I've never really thought that you could literally sit completely still with the bait and catch fish. And so the guy behind the camera, his name is Alec. We were fishing at his pond one time. It was February, I think, right? And we were trying to catch some fish, and I'm like, all right, where's the spring coming in this thing? That's where the warm water's going to be. So we head over to the side that had the spring in it, and I cast the drop shot out, and I'm dead sticking it. Like, I'm just leaving it still there, and all of a sudden you just feel a little tick, and you pull it, and I was catching crappie, actually. I think I caught a bass, but I was catching crappie on a drop shot. And it's just crazy how you can really slow down for some species and really speed up, and then other species, it's like, I don't know how you'd fish slow for a bluefish, I'm going to be honest.
So you can. So we fish, they're called Taylor blues. They're not a different species. They just don't get as big because of where they're living and the amount of food they have, is my general... I'm by no means a wildlife biologist. Don't quote me on any of this. From my understanding, they're smaller because there's not a combination of there's not the food there versus the habitat they're living in. So they don't get as big as like the biggest bluefish we catch down there is probably a little bit 2-3 pounds. But there's bluefish that guys catch off the Jersey Shore that are 20-30 pounds.
Right.
You can fish slow for those. They'll snag, you can call them bunker, menhaden, there's about 100 names for them.
So you're casting and you're bait fishing.
They take big treble hooks, find the school of menhaden, bunker, whatever you want to call them, snag one, stick it on a circle hook, throw it out there, and they catch big stripers and bluefish and whatever. Because those big predatory fish just follow around these giant schools of bait fish, basically. Yeah.
You know one type of fishing we've done that I was not like the biggest fan of? I'd still do it again because it was fun, but the salmon fishing.
So for any of you who know what salmon fishing is, you're probably used to going to a river. If you're anywhere on the East Coast, you probably know where the salmon river coming out of Ontario is. Pulaski, whichever one you say. You could.
Oh, really? People call it Pulaski? There's an argument.
Yeah. I think that's how you're supposed to say it.
Can I speak?
Yeah, go for it.
So the people who live there up in Ontario, they call it Pulaski.
Pulaski.
That's what all the people in New York who live in Ontario live near the Salmon River.
Well, I defer to them then.
Yeah.
Everybody else across the United States calls it Pulaski.
Okay.
Alright, it's settled. That's it.
Pulaski. I'm going with locals.
I'm going to start saying Pulaski just because it sounds
I'm going with
interesting.
Locals.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go up in the river there and they... I don't even know. I've never done it. I don't know what they do.
I think it's called swinging because you're not...
it's not quite snagging, but...
you're snagging them.
Let's just say they're not eating.
You're flossing.
Yeah, you're flossing them.
Yep.
Drift the line in between their mouth, pull the hook up to their face, and...
It's a little bit sketchy, but...
I've never done it, but I know that's what most people do.
Right.
The salmon fishing we've done was before that. We went in August, I think it was.
So what happens is salmon, they're out in the lake in the summertime, then what happens is they push up into the rivers in the fall.
The breeding...
They breed and then they die,
The breeders, yeah.
Yeah.
They go up into the rivers, they breed, they die.
Right.
That's all salmon, though. That's... There's a name for the type of fish they are.
So the flossing is done for those fish that are the breeders, the ones that are dying off, right?
Well, yes, the ones up in the river, that's what they're doing. But when we were catching them, we were catching them out in the lake, trolling in hundreds of feet of water with, we were using spoons mostly, if I remember correctly.
No, we were using dry, I don't know, it was like a fly. It was like some sort of...
No, they were spoons. They just had bucktail.
Really?
Bucktail tails on them.
Because I remember asking if we could try to catch a steelhead, because for some reason I wanted to catch a steelhead, probably because I thought the name steelhead was pretty cool.
Probably.
But, anyway, and they said if we were going to use those, we use spoons.
Guys will be trolling for salmon and catch huge brown trout. I know that'll happen.
Okay. Because...
So, steelhead probably wasn't unimaginable.
That's why I thought we weren't using spoons, because I thought they said no, we'd use spoons if we were gonna go for them, but we were using something different. I thought something along those lines.
I don't remember. I think I was about 10. You were probably, or I was like 11 maybe.
Yeah, we were young.
10 or 11 or something.
I remember look at pictures of us holding those fish, and I looked so small.
They were it was like a 20-pound salmon, and I could barely hold it up.
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
It was half the size of me.
Mhm. Exactly. But anyway, the reason why I was saying is why I don't like it as much is because we took a charter boat, and all we kind of
we went out for 6 hours the one day, then we went out for like 2.5 the second day, but we almost died because it was 8-foot waves in the middle of Lake Ontario.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
But the reason I wasn't a big fan of it because all we were doing is we're sitting there until one bites.
Waiting for a line to go.
Yeah, and then it's just fighting it and reeling it in. I want to like do the whole kind of thing myself. You know what I mean? I want to go through the experience myself.
Yeah.
Of,
maybe we'll do that this year. Maybe
what?
we'll go up to New York and go salmon fishing.
Maybe.
Fly fishing, maybe. Spinning, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll do something.
I would do that. I want to do more fly fishing.
Keep an eye out.
Yeah, keep an eye out. You guys do. You and Alec both do a lot of fly fishing. I'm going to talk about that more with Alec when we have him on. But yeah, I want to get more into fly fishing a little bit as well. But yeah, I kind of want to talk about some quick fire questions. They're not going to be quick fire. I'm sure they won't be quick fire. Anyone who ever says there's a quick fire question in any interview, it never.
Unless you're looking at one word answers.
Yeah, exactly. It usually ends up being longer. But just some questions I got for you. So, what's your most memorable fish catch out of all your entire life? I want to hear about this.
So you are reading off this list. I have read the list. It also lines up. It also happens to be my biggest fish catch.
Okay. Is
the most memorable. So if you can, I was with Alec at his house at his pond.
Okay. And I think I know this one.
We were in the middle of the lake in a little rowboat. It was October, so it was pretty late in the year. I was fishing a drop shot with it was the Cabela's brand, the Diamond Tails.
The Diamond Tails, yeah.
They're the bright.
I had them and I gave them to you.
Yeah, they're the bright silvery ones.
Look like a bait fish.
Fishing those, I kept having bluegills biting the tail off, and I'd set the hook and rip it off, and I was getting tired of losing worms to these bluegills, presumably.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, I took the smallest piece. So I took a piece of a purple finesse worm, maybe about 2 inches long, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I ripped off a section of a Zoom finesse worm,
and
stuck it on a drop shot hook, cast it out there, said, "Oh, he's got it." I thought I was catching a bluegill. I set the hook and very quickly realized it was not a bluegill.
Yeah.
It was we waded in at about 4 1/4.
Mm-hmm.
That was my biggest bass, at least.
Right. Because I was thinking about some other fish that we catch. We'll talk about after.
We didn't have a net, so naturally we took a 5-gallon, or it was not a 5-gallon bucket. We took a bucket and tried to use it like a net. Did not work.
Mm-hmm.
The fish did not fit in the bucket.
Yeah.
So that was probably one of my most memorable.
So
trying to catch a bluegill and catching a 4.
Yeah, because you were trying to catch a bass, and then the only thing that was coming was the bluegill, and then
tried to catch a bluegill and ended up with a
4
pound bass.
Yeah.
So.
You said biggest fish. I was thinking about those sharks we caught in Virginia Beach.
It's either those or the salmon.
Yeah, I'm not sure which was.
I don't
we never got the sharks in the boat.
I don't.
Never tried that.
No, and I don't know if you can count it as we caught the salmon because it was like a 40-minute fight. We caught the one big one.
We were trading off.
We traded off a bunch. We gave it to our dad some. It was about a 40-minute fight.
Mm-hmm.
With I think it was around a 30-pound salmon.
Mm-hmm.
It was either that or we had the sharks in the Chesapeake Bay.
Right.
That was.
I forget how big those were, but they seemed really big. They seemed like 4 to 5 feet.
That was the general consensus among the people in the boat at that time was they were about 4 foot, maybe 4.5 or so.
Yeah. We never tried to get them in the boat. It wasn't a giant boat. We just kind of clipped them off next to the boat.
Yeah, clipped them off as close to the hook as you could.
Right.
They swam off.
That was a crazy.
You had like a bass rod for that. I remember he said that he had about 8 rods and he said, "All right, pick your one. We're going bottom fishing." Mm-hmm. So usually you're catching little croakers and sea bass and whatever's down there.
Right.
And so I picked a whatever rod, so I was fine. You picked the lightest one he had, and then ended up catching a a 4-foot shark.
No, it's like a 7-foot medium heavy action.
It was a little bigger than a bass rod.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But
so
that was very entertaining to watch you.
Yeah, exactly.
Struggle with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually do have some videos of us fishing.
You do have footage of that, I believe.
I have.
Right?
Ooh, I lost that video.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I lost that. So I'll talk about this quick. We're going to go to a quick break for a second in a bit. But my laptop crapped out. I lost my hard drive. I lost basically from the footage from the second half of 2020. So I probably had 5 or 6 fishing videos with footage, as well as like a bunch of personal stuff I lost.
As well as archived videos that weren't
that never aired.
The air, but we liked having them around.
Right.
Stuff like videos of us snorkeling when we went to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Crazy stuff. I lost it all. So that sucked, but I got it fixed now, and I got an external hard drive. So hopefully that won't happen again. But yeah, so we're gonna continue talking. We're gonna go to a quick break, and then we'll be back with this in a second here. So see you then. If you have ever fished a stick-style worm, you know the fish-catching power of this bait. Our noodle worm harnesses the fish-catching potential of the stick bait with action that works well, rigged both wacky and Texas rigged. Available in some of the most trusted colors in bass fishing, and coming in at an affordable price, our noodle worm will keep you catching fish all day long. To get your noodle worms, visit the description below. Welcome back to the program here. We're going through the quick fire list, but real quick, I just want to say sorry if you hear any wind noises. The wind is ripping around the house. My room's kind of on a corner here, and the wind's just ripping around the corner. So if you hear that, my apologies, but we're dealing with it. So yeah, without further ado, we are going to continue with this quick fire list I have for Jaden here. He actually just knocked off the first 3 of it with that one answer. Thanks. You're really helping me out here. So this next one I think is pretty cool. So what's your best fishing memory of an unsuccessful trip?
Where do I start? We could talk about a week ago when I fell in the creek. It's January, by the way, so that was less than desirable. There was a time I was in Idaho. I probably should be dead, but that's what I was unsuccessful. I don't think I caught a single fish that entire week. I don't think I caught a
What was the part where you should have been dead? I never heard about that.
You never heard about that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I might have, but
story time.
Okay.
So the first time I went to Idaho in 10th grade with Alec, I didn't have waders out there, so I just kind of wore some old shoes, walked around in the creek. Now, I don't. For those of you out there who do walk through creeks on a regular basis, it kind of takes some getting used to if you've never done it before. I really had never done it before. I'm walking around to the edge of this creek, and I'm walking past a hole. Now, this hole is easily in over my head, probably 8-10 feet deep, could be even deeper. I have no idea because we can't see to the bottom. I basically got my foot stuck behind a rock, and the current pushed me, and I fell straight, like, head over heels backwards, straight into this hole that was about 8 feet deep, and then I had to swim onto the shore and, pull myself out of the creek. Had I been wearing waders, they would have filled up, and I probably would have drowned. But I didn't, so we're still here today. That was an interesting experience. That was good.
Wow. I thought we could tell the story. The other one actually seems pretty similar to this one. The one from last week.
It is. So
I have video of that one too. I'm going to play that.
So I got new waders, and we were out there, and I didn't feel like buying boots to go with the waders. So they just have the socks on them. I thought it'd be a good idea to wear my Crocs, but you can see I'm wearing them now. These are my new ones. I wore my old ones, which I wore the tread off completely. They are completely...
Yeah, you wear Crocs every day.
Yeah, every single day. Yeah, every day.
I remember the first time you went for your interview for the job at the golf course, and I'm pretty sure you forgot your shoes and you were going to wear Crocs.
I got up there and had Crocs on. Luckily, I had a pair of sneakers in the back of my car. because I keep a pair of sneakers in the back of my car. For those of you who don't know me, my car is an absolute everything I have. Completely unorganized. It's a complete wreck, but it saves me so many times from having, whether I break down on the side of the highway last week, and luckily I had about 4 jackets and a blanket, as well as a load of hats and gloves in there. Mm-hmm. So, it ended up being fine. It's a bad quality of mine, but as long as it keeps coming in handy,
yeah, we'll roll with it.
It is what it is.
So you slipped because your Crocs didn't have tread on it.
Yeah, no, I had no tread on it and just got on a flat rock, no traction at all. Feet came out from under me. There was not a whole lot I could have done.
Not much you could have done. So
I had to go a different way rather than over top of the flat rock with algae on it. Was the correct answer there?
The very gritty gravel beneath it.
Yeah, I had to take a step about a foot to the left, and I was fine. But that wasn't me.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to play the clip now. I'll throw it up on the screen, but I'm going to play it here for us, and I'll give you guys the good audio, not through the camera. So, yeah, here it is. Hope you enjoy this.
Don't fall now. Guess who fell? You okay? This shit is slippery as fuck. Oh, are you serious? I was joking about that. Sitting on the shore laughing at me.
I wasn't happy.
He was almost there. You two are I'm gonna die of hypothermia now. Take that sweatshirt somewhere. Take that sweatshirt off.
This video is funny every time I see it.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, that's.
It's I don't know
what a day. It was definitely unsuccessful. I mean, you got a bite. I had a follower, but I don't think anyone caught anything.
No one had anything on the line for any kind of. It was a bite, missed hook set, that kind of stuff.
Alright, so now we're going to get into some of my favorite stuff to talk about. A little bit of bass fishing, even though it's only 2 questions. But I guess we'll start with, what is your favorite bait for bass?
People that know me will tell you I like to stick to the simpler things. It can and always is going to be a wacky rigged Senko. It's as long as it works, I am going to throw it. It's caught me way too many fish over the years to just, it's a fallback. I'm glad to try jigs and drop shots, and I do have a lot of fun throwing that kind of stuff. But it's always going to be my fallback plan, is a wacky rig Senko. Other stuff I like throwing, I really like top water. That's always fun when you can see the fish.
What's your favorite type of top water bait? Popper?
Probably a popper is. It's the one I see the most success on.
Yeah.
Is a popper, but I'll throw spooks. I have a duck lure. Yes, I've caught fish on it. I just got a spider, so I'm eager to try that one out. I'll throw anything.
So for you, weird it's either very simple or the craziest it could be.
Very weird. Shouldn't catch fish, but it actually will.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those.
You can catch bass on almost anything. Some baits will definitely do it better than others, but they definitely will eat anything.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Senko? We have to talk about this.
Well, for a long time, it was my good buddy Lou's from Wacky Worm.
Mm-hmm.
50 Senkos for $15 or whatever it was. You couldn't beat it.
Right.
But now, it's the ones I make myself.
We're coming out with our own baits.
We have our own baits.
You've already seen the ad. We're talking about them.
Just buy them.
They're good.
They're good. I'm never throwing another Senko. Honestly.
Mm-hmm. Other than stuff we make.
Other than maybe I'd throw something a little different as far as size goes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
If I wanted to throw a
Ned rig or something.
But when I throw a Ned rig, I rip the top off a Senko and stick it on a jig head.
Right.
To be honest with you.
So yeah, that's
that
it.
Kind of stuff.
We just came out with these Senkos. We came out with them last winter, spring of last winter, and we sold some throughout the summer. But
mostly to friends and people we know, people from the community.
But we've been making for a year. We've had a lot of time. We've learned a lot how to make good quality. All these baits we inspect.
The product has changed dramatically.
Yeah, you wouldn't think so because it's still a stickworm, but yeah, we've gone through like different molds and different processes to get the bait into its final form, and we've really improved the quality control on it in a lot of ways. They're all identical. When we first started,
it's something I wouldn't sell it to anyone if I wouldn't go out to a store and buy it, and I would.
Right, yeah, exactly.
If I saw them in a store,
that's the telling thing. Exactly.
I would. That's
And Senko's stickworms, whatever you call them. Ours is called the Noodle worm. These new worms are great. Buy our nudes; they will keep your rod happy. But yeah, they're good. I like them. So, enough of that. Well, let's get into sort of our top 3, or your top 3 baits and lures of all time. This is not just for bass. This is for anything. You can combine it over different species, whatever you want.
Oof. These are high.
Wait, your favorite color noodle worm?
Oh, favorite color.
I just want to hear this quick.
So we actually don't sell them, but it's the ones we burned and messed up.
Yeah, those are not bad.
So we had 2 separate batches of 2 different colors. They're both purple. They're both the same color, but one has the
green flake,
the green emerald flake. One has red flake. So when you're making these worms, it's called scalding the plastic. You overheat it, and it actually changes the chemistry of how it is. So we don't sell them, but we threw.
Actually, the plastic is fine. The color just got screwed up.
Yes,
bad.
the color isn't right, and the glitter gets a little off.
Yeah.
So we combined these 2, so it's a dark purple worm, like a grape color worm, basically.
Yeah.
With green flake, or with green and red flakes in it.
Yeah.
I've used it a lot because we had a lot of that.
Yeah, exactly. I have a bag right here behind us.
Yeah, and I saw a fair amount of success on, and I don't think I've ever seen.
You were way out fishing me that day, and I wasn't throwing a stickworm, and you were throwing that, and you were killing me on it.
I don't remember. I don't think I've ever seen anything similar color wise.
No.
Out there.
Me neither.
There's things that are sort of, I guess, in that realm.
I see it like on the rarest occasions. I look at a lot of baits. I spend way too much time on Tackle Warehouse.
Yeah, but yeah.
All right,
maybe we'll come out with that as a regular.
We should. We
darken the purple.
We're gonna look
add
into
both
that.
Types of flake. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna look into that. Yeah, but anyway, back to this other question I was gonna ask you. Your top 3 baits and lures of all time.
So, specific? Are we talking specific baits or like am I looking for a model name here or a?
It can be whatever you want.
Number 1, I guess it's got to be a Wacky Rick Senko.
It's got to be it.
It's got to be whether it's ours or whoever it is. It's got to be a Wacky Rick Senko. It's got to be up there in my number 1. My number 2, I'm gonna say a drop shot, and maybe it's just because of the way that a lot of the lakes are around where we live. But
heavy pressure.
Between heavy pressure and it gets hot in the summer, so you kind of have to catch them deep. So we do a lot of fishing on deep structure, and it's a I guess technique.
It's reliable
bait I've come to rely on when I struggle to catch fish. Put on a drop shot, find some deep cover. See what you can do. Yeah,
it's the same for me. Like, I used to not fish a drop shot at all, and then when I started fishing with my buddy Noah, he started throwing it, and he told me how good it was. And like the first year we fished together with it, he was using it a lot, having a lot of success on it. I really hadn't picked it up at that point, and then the following year I picked it up and said, "All right, I'm going to commit myself to this. I'm going to learn it." And that year it was my most productive bait, and it's been like a steady. Like, I always have it tied on. I don't have dedicated rods for every rod. I have too many rods. But every rod I have, I'll use for a handful of different things, except for my drop shot rod. That one's almost specifically for it. So I know what you mean. The drop shot, it kills. It's the same for me.
My third one. And now, well, the other two are kind of like a rig. Like, it's not a specific, not a specific Senko or a specific worm you're putting on the drop shot. This is a specific bait. I have one lure. I branched out and got other ones, but the KVD 1.0 square bill, I originally had it in gizzard shad. I couldn't even tell you the amount of fish I've caught on it. I mean, it's got to be triple digits, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Smallmouth, largemouth, whatever it is. I've caught. Like I said, it's got to be approaching triple digits on that singular lure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let alone, I've gotten other KVD 1.0s in other colors and that.
Gizzard shad, right?
Yeah, gizzard shad is the original.
Mm-hmm. It's just so plain, so simple.
It's a simple bait.
That little bit of white just flashes. Yeah, it looks like everything, kind of. Mm-hmm. Looks like any minute that.
I've had a handful of double-digit days on that bait. A double-digit fish on that.
Double-digit fish, like a 10-pound bass, or
double-digit number. Of fish.
Number.
But I've caught my fair share of good fish on it too.
Yeah, not double digits. We're still working towards that.
No.
that's a little bit.
I'm looking to get over 5 still.
Yeah. Same. I'm right at the cusp. That's a good list. I like that. 3 staples in bass fishing, in my opinion, and they're just very common and very easy to use. You know, simple, I guess, is how I describe them. So that's good. That's awesome. So this last one of this section of the questions I have here for you here is sort of a fun one. What is your favorite piece of fishing attire?
So I'm sure you've all seen it at some point. I'm a disorganized person. It's somewhere around.
Oh,
I'll find it.
Yeah.
The camo bucket, the camo bucket hat. I wear it almost all the time I go fishing. If I remember it, I have it on.
I gotcha.
It's
a solid choice. I want to come up with some bucket hats. I want to get our logo on some bucket hats. My girlfriend got me these shirts with our logo on it, but I want to get some bucket hats, some more t-shirts, sweatshirts, all that kind of stuff. But I think a bucket hat would be awesome. I definitely wear that from time to time. Yeah.
I would change up the bucket hat if it had the logo on it. I would change the bucket hat if it had the logo on it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I got you.
Give me one with the logo on it. We'll talk.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. We're going to work towards that. So, last thing I want to talk about with you is your fishing goals for this year. Do you have any? Do you set goals?
Similar to...
Do you have any bucket list, anything along these lines?
Similar to the channel in general. Branch out. Do more stuff that I haven't done before. Mm-hmm. I kind of, for a long time, got stuck in a rut of only doing bass fishing, and that was just about it. I've branched out a little bit. I've gotten into fly fishing for trout. I would like to catch a nice trout, something close to 20 inches if I'm lucky.
Just throw a super fluke in the creek, right out.
Just throw a super fluke at the lake where they shouldn't live because it's warm. But
that's a story. I have to tell that quick. We can't just
gloss
over that. So I was throwing a Zoom super fluke in albino at this creek at our local lake, the one we grew up fishing for bass. But I know there's trout that live in the creek that leads into this lake. So I'm throwing up there. I'm thinking, maybe I'll catch it, but I'm sure there's gonna be some small bass up there that I could probably get on this too. I'm nose hooking it to a banjo minnow rig, and this really upset Alec because he fishes hard for trout, and I just willy-nilly caught a big brown trout. Yeah,
that was probably about I'd say that was around 20 or so.
Around 20?
Yeah, that was 20. It was
I didn't even know.
Very pretty fish too, bright colors. And,
I was just snapping it, and it came up behind it, and I snapped it once, and it.
I've never seen a trout attack something like that before. I've caught them on streamers and watched them come up out of the current and attack a streamer. I've watched that a lot. I fish streamers a fair amount, and they attack it, but it's not.
It's like we were talking about before. With the
I've never
seen
fish
imitators.
It was sitting up behind that big rock up there,
Yeah.
Sitting up behind the big rock. I mean, you threw it up next to the rock and started tripping it back. It must have swam 30 feet to come get this thing. Mm-hmm. It saw it throw out, and it kind of came out from behind it, and then chased it down.
That's how certain baits are. Flukes, swim baits, glide baits, stuff like that. Stuff that they really want to react to.
And
it's all those natural bait fish imitators, too.
It in a million years.
Yeah.
I mean, usually you think trout, they're smart. You got to use finesse tactics and fly fish, and that's what we do. Is
this is a 5-inch super fluke.
Use little tiny nymphs or streamers or whatever, and he was super fluke up in the creek, and this giant trout just, you trigger that predatory instinct, and
it happens.
It happened. You make it happen.
Well, it's just what we were saying before. Like, all the different types of fish, they all have that predatory instinct, except for carp. Like, the trout, you can just throw some sort of bait fish imitator. I think a fluke does a really good job with it, but
it's one of the best bait fish imitators out there.
Yeah, I think so, too. I mean, if I was going to do that in the future, if I was going to target trout with a fluke again, I'd definitely go to a super fluke junior. Size. Yeah, but still, it was crazy. So that's why that happened. And I just always have to say it around Alec because he fishes hard for these trout, and I just showed him up, and I wasn't even trying, and so I just have to say it. But he's going to be in this podcast next week. You're going to see a podcast with him. We're going to be filming it right after this one, so yeah, we're going to be getting into that right about now. So I just want to thank you for watching. Thank you for Jaden for coming on here, and we'll be seeing more of him soon for sure. So yeah, thank you for watching. Watch the clips of this. You'll see him somewhere on YouTube. Go to my Instagram. Check out the baits there if you want. I really recommend them. They're great. I love them. I use them myself. We make them here. Their in-house quality control is great. I love it. So
made in America.
Made in America. You helping put us through college. But yeah, it's what?
Well, I don't think we're making that much money.
No, we're not. But yeah, we'd appreciate it if you went down there and looked at our baits, give us a look. So
I think you'll be surprised.
Yeah, they're good stuff. So yeah, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.